Thank you so much, Chairwoman. Thank you, Secretary Hegseth, General Kane, Mr. Hurst, for being here today. You know, after I was honorably discharged from the Army Reserve, the GI Bill helped me go to school and ultimately become a lawyer. My focus was representing clients who were wrongfully terminated or faced discrimination and harassment at the work. Mr. Secretary, if I were in the courtroom trying to prove that you discriminate against our military heroes, I wouldn't have to look very far or very hard. In just 16 months, you have fired more than a dozen senior military leaders. You've delayed or canceled the promotion of even more. Your chief of staff told the Secretary of the Army that President Trump would not want to stand.
That's not true. That was totally false reporting.
I'm not getting to my question yet, Mr. Secretary. You told the President, the Secretary of the Army that the President would not want to stand next to a black female officer at the military events. But, you know, despite all of this, I remain very hopeful that you can and will do better for the men and women who have dedicated their lives to protect our great country. You're here to ask for $1.5 trillion. That's a huge budget, and I want to make sure that you have the ability to manage it. Secretary Hegseth, you would agree with me when I say that we want the most qualified people in every position of our military, correct? That's a question.
Yes.
Thank you. General Kane, you would want the same?
Yes.
Thank you. You know, I share the bipartisan concern about the firing of General George. And what I and the American people want to know from you is, did you ask the President for his permission before you fired General George, Secretary Hegseth?
It is my responsibility to confer with the Commander-in-Chief on especially high-level personnel matters. And ultimately, I won't relay what was discussed, but he was aware of the action that would be taken.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And when you made the decision to fire General George, did you consult Secretary Driscoll?
There had been multiple consultations over a year, yes.
Do you and Secretary Driscoll have a good working relationship?
Yes, I appreciate the work he's doing for the Army.
And for the record, would you agree that Secretary Driscoll is doing a great job as the Secretary of the Army?
I appreciate the work that the Secretary is doing and made the personnel change based on the Chief of the Army.
In fact, he was so good that at his job that the President sent him to Ukraine to negotiate a peace deal. Do you know why the President chose to send him over you?
I'm grateful that the President puts in players at key moments to advance policy priorities, and that's what occurred there, and I was very supportive of it at the time.
Recently, Secretary Driscoll testified in front of the Appropriations Committee that he refused to strike the names of 2 female and 2 black officers from a promotion list due to their exemplary service, names which were ultimately removed. Did you order him to strike those names?
I know we removed those names. I did.
Okay. Why?
Because we review every general officer. You mentioned 12 general officers have been reviewed. The number's much higher than that. I would also note that under Barack Obama, 197 general officers were removed. So this is not something specific to this administration. Every officer serves at the pleasure of the President. And when they need to be removed in order to ensure we have the right leadership in those services, I will make those calls regardless of what you might say from the dais.
You know, about a year ago, the Army began their transformation initiative. I'm all for modernization, but this process seems to have been completely rushed in a way that compromises our readiness, including deactivating a medical evacuation Black Hawk unit at Joint Training Forces Base, Los Alamitos. I've heard recently from senior Army officials who support slowing down the Army Transformation Initiative, specifically as it relates to aviation. Secretary Hegseth, can you commit to slowing down ATI as it relates to aviation?
There are multiple places inside ATI that we are reviewing to ensure that we do not create capability gaps inside today's Army based on the fights we have today and the fights of the future. And this budget reflects ensuring that we don't have any operational gaps in the Army or any of the services.
Mr. Secretary, during your opening, you brought up this beautiful slide, and you talked about the Arsenal of Freedom. It's the Arsenal of Freedom slide, talking about private investment, you know, from the $1.5 billion. RTX was on there, Boeing, GE, L3 Harris, Lockheed. My question to you is, do you or your wife have any personal investment in those companies?
No.